Hi everyone, my name is Jessie Houghton and I'm a product manager on Visual Studio. I'm here today to share with you the beginner series for Visual Studio, and I'm super excited to do so because this is a reprisal of the same series. So you're going to see maybe some of the similar content, but we are updating everything for Visual Studio 2022 and the release of .NET 8. So what is Visual Studio? Well, it's an integrated development environment. This means it's a one-stop shop for all of your software development needs. It allows you to have that great editing experience and debugging and all the analyzers and fixers and everything that you might need to make you successful while coding. It's not to be confused with Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is a super powerful and lightweight source code editor. That means it doesn't have as many things out of the box as Visual Studio does, but it does have a huge ecosystem of extensions that allows you to work with a variety of workloads. So speaking of workloads, let me mention that Visual Studio, remember, not the one with the code at the end, is the one that has super popularity with .NET and C++ workflows. And that's not just me saying it. It consistently ranks highly on Stack Overflow. They do an annual developer satisfaction survey, and Visual Studio is always up there. It's been around for 20 years, and just like VS Code, it's got this awesome community of extension builders, as well as many folks at Microsoft building on the extensions as well. All right. Because millions of people work in Visual Studio every day, they want to make it like a home away from home, with all of their customizations, everything feeling as comfortable as possible. So as it is similar to a home, let me walk you through a tour of the IDE so you can understand how to get comfortable and get started using it. As I am set up here, let me go ahead and change it to a theme that I like to use. I'll go ahead and switch to maybe the light theme this time. And I will walk you through kind of the easiest way to get started with customizations. So if you forgot how I got to that theme page, you just click on Tools. You can click on Theme and change the theme. I've found that light and blue theme works well when coming across on video, but lots of people prefer the dark theme. And if you forget where that is, you can always use the Control-Q search. So that's going to bring up feature search in the all-in-one search box. And we call it that because it's got your coding search and your feature search, and maybe soon to be other types of searches coming. And if I type in theme, that's going to allow me to quickly select and change the theme to any of the other options available. You can also download and get more themes if there aren't ones that fit your preferences. Other things that people like to customize right out of the box is font size. And you notice I even misspelled font, and all-in-one search is smart enough to kind of bring that up for me. All right, aside from some of those starting customizations, you probably want to know a little bit more about the editor. So here in my screen, I've got a little class set up, and I am going to show you've got all of the same kind of error squiggles and warnings and things that you've come to expect. Here, I'm showing off the new spell checking that we have in the editor. And so I've misspelled gluten here, and it's going to let me know that I've got a misspelling that I can go ahead and resolve. And it also has great code suggestions and code completion. So you notice right there, I just entered a new line, and it came up with a whole line of text that I can just accept with a tab. Unfortunately, this is not quite exactly what I was looking for. So let me start typing here. And I get the IntelliSense code suggestions. The ones with the stars here are telling me that these are really popular ways for the next thing that I'm typing. And that's been determined by an artificial intelligence model that looks for what are the most common selections. So I'll go ahead and accept that. And then I'll start typing for my list. And that's also another popular suggestion here. And looks like the rest of the suggestion is exactly what I'm looking for to create a list of ingredients. So I'll go ahead and tap Tab to accept those suggestions. So you might be wondering, what was that gray text? It doesn't come out of the box. It's actually from one of my favorite extensions in the marketplace. And that's going to be the GitHub Copilot extension. not to be confused with Copilot Chat, which I'll talk about in a different video. All right, now that I've added that, I am ready to show you a little bit of the debugging experience. So let me go ahead and click play here. And this is going to start my web app running in another browser. So I'll go ahead and make sure that that pops up on the screen for us. There it is. Oh, it looks like I've got a quick issue. Let me go ahead and fix that. My Razor page is letting me know that it doesn't actually have this property defined yet. So that's what I get for making that part of the demo. And I'll go ahead and start that again. And this time the page will boot up and I'll be able to see my cupcake page. This is a quick endpoint that I've made to show how the debugger works. So I have a breakpoint set. And if I click on that, the breakpoint will be caught. And I can take a look at my locals to understand more about the state of my program at this point. All right, that is that. And sometimes you want to code alongside somebody else. So to start a really quick and easy pair programming session from anywhere in the world, you can click this live share button, and that's going to start a collaboration session that gives you a link. And that link you can send to your friends over Teams, over text, or whatever. They can start it up on their own Visual Studio or even Visual Studio Code and hop on and pair program alongside you. Another way to work with others collaboratively is using Git. I will talk more about Git in another video, but if you're familiar with Git and its power, we have a lot of Git tooling built into Visual Studio 2022. So off here on the right side, I have the Git changes window open, and that's going to allow me to preview all the changes that I might be making in this session of coding. And I'll go ahead and type a commit message. Maybe your messages will be a lot more descriptive than mine. And I can go ahead and commit that and see that it was committed locally. If I want that to be accessible by my collaborators, I would go ahead and push that to our remote repository, and folks can take a look at that on either GitHub or Azure DevOps or whatever Git hosting provider they might be using. All right, I think I rounded out almost everything on the tour, but the last thing I will say is that if you're not already signed in here in the upper right corner in Visual Studio, I'd highly recommend that you do so. Signing in allows you to carry your preferences over from different installs of Visual Studio, and it also allows you to give feedback and track that feedback a lot easier. So what I mean by that is that we have this feedback button where you can report a problem or suggest a feature. And when you click on that, it'll take you to our developer community. That's going to be your best place to learn more about different features that are maybe up and coming, or engage with community members on bug reports or suggestions for new features. You can definitely also track your reports via your account there. And the last thing that's really great about being signed in is getting easier access to your Azure services as well as your GitHub services. So GitHub might be things like issue search in your commit message box or pull request experience. And Azure services might be making it a lot easier to kind of spin up and publish an app right from Visual Studio. I think I caught everything I wanted to in my whirlwind tour. Thank you so much for joining and watching this episode.